I liked you better with glasses.
Too bad. I like me better without them.
Hey, pretty fans. Welcome to another episode of the Better with Glasses podcast. I am your host, Vic Exalia, and with me, as always, is Casey.
Hey.
And we are here for the second to last, the penultimate episode.
Love Affair.
Love Affair.
Yeah. That was a banger.
It was a good one.
So much happened. I felt like, we had that instant reaction that we posted on the Instagram afterward. That shit felt like
That was a legit reaction.
an hour and 20 minutes long.
It was about an hour long. It was 57 minutes.
I know that shit. It was like, wow, so many things happened. Like we got this scene and this scene and this
Yeah.
scene and like long emotional scene and like
Well,
volleyball and like holy shit.
in
Make
our preview episode, you had said, it's going to go rapid fire. We still got to do this.
I was right.
and this.
They covered so much ground.
You were right, but I was so impressed with how they did it. Like it cleared a lot of things up very quickly.
A few minor nitpicks, but we'll get to them.
Yeah, we'll get to them.
Some housekeeping before we start.
Oh yeah.
Got bad news.
What?
We got a 1-star rating.
Oh yeah, I did know that. It's
So
okay.
whoever did it out there, we tried our best. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We're gonna rise from the ashes and keep trying to make a podcast everyone likes.
Yeah.
And if you haven't rated out there on Apple or Spotify, and you like the show, feel free to throw a rating in the old portal there. You know what I'm saying?
Anyhow, so there's so much to go over. Let's start with the first scene. It opens up where exactly where it left off.
Nailed it.
Casey nailed it. It starts off with Laurel, Belly. And it's the scene from the book.
It is.
We knew it was going to be a conversation between those two. It's a little more than a conversation.
Would have been funny if they got in a slap fight.
Oh,
if Belly would have slapped.
Like one of these. No, so Laurel is there, obviously extremely pissed.
As she should be.
And the part that they kept from the book is where Laurel just assumes, because she doesn't know anything. So Laurel just assumes that Belly lied and they all came to the house to party. It'll come back at another point where Laurel actually says it, but like she ends up like talking to Steven and Conrad as if they like cleared all the stuff out of the house so they could throw a rager. Like it's a little bit unbelievable that Laurel's like not in the right headspace at all. But she bitches at Belly for that. Rightly so, if you're a parent. Not that we're parents, but put yourself in her shoes. And what I did like is in the book, they made it a lot more about like, I wish you weren't my mom, or it was something like that.
Yeah.
This was a little bit more like, hey, you've been absent. I know that you hold it against me the way that I acted at the funeral.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more believable.
It was less cutting and extreme.
Yeah.
Like the shit in the book was like, I wish you weren't my mom.
You should have been the one that died.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is fucking Jerry Springer.
Yeah. But even so, she doesn't want to go. And she starts like challenging Laurel's care about the boys and Susanna and all this stuff. And Laurel's on a hair trigger too, man. Like we know that she's been bottling stuff up and she slaps Belly. And then Belly is leaving the bedroom. She sees Conrad and Jeremiah, who have obviously heard the shouting match. As predicted, we get the scene.
Everyone woke up looking like $1 million, even though they went hard the night before.
Maybe they drank like 8 bottles of water before bed,
Everyone's looking real good in the morning.
Skincare routine
yeah.
before passing out. Yeah.
The magic of television, baby.
Yeah, no one's really hurting.
Yeah.
Which is no, it's not the magic of television, because you remember in the first season after the bonfire fight and Conrad is like clearly very hungover. They could have made him a little bit more hungover, all of them, right? Like he couldn't even stand the loud noise or whatever. He's just like laying on the couch.
Season 1's very contained. Season 2 is a little more sprawl though.
Yeah. Anyhow, okay. So then you get Jeremiah out on the beach with Belly. She's like sitting there by herself crying. What does he say when he shows up? Do you need some company?
Yeah. Jared doing his best soap opera impression.
So he sits down. I like that they addressed It's not even the elephant in the room. I guess it can be, but they address what happened last night.
Last night.
We'll get to
Okay.
that. And they're addressing it, and Belly starts to, she says she's not, but she starts to kind of defend Conrad, like, oh, I'm sure he didn't mean this or that. And I do like the lines. Yeah. Just for once, can we not? Like, we have so many other things to worry about, and it's more than just you. That is the centrifugal force
You
of
talk
the show.
about what is in your, like, what's going on in your life. It's really hard for Belly not to talk about Conrad.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, okay, the part that was confusing to me, and you had even asked me, and I don't even to this day have a clear answer. She says, whatever you think you saw last night.
Oh, yeah.
Things are over between me and Conrad. I'm wondering if
he was just sitting up there with a firework ready to let it fly.
Yeah, like, well, I don't know if she's talking about like his entire day of jealousy watching those two interact. I don't know if she just assumes that he saw something, or maybe she feels guilty because they did have an interaction on the beach and she comes back inside and sees Jeremiah, right? Like when she's coming back into the party or whatever.
Hey, whatever it is, she's thinking about it, and she's obviously in the mindset of needing to cater to Jer's emotions.
Yes.
And that's very telling in terms of where she's headed.
Now that scene ends with Jeremiah saying things, there will always be something between you and Conrad, which I like. And I don't just like it, because, oh, I'm team Conrad. I like it because in a lot of ways it's team Jeremiah, right? Like maybe not team Jelly, but it is team Jeremiah for him to not be aloof and in the dark about this before he decides if he wants to really enter into this relationship. So that was good. Then we get Laurel and Belly. So Belly and Jer walk back up to the house. Laurel is sitting outside. Just like in the book, it gets quickly resolved. So you get Laurel sitting down with Belly in what episode was it?
It was the one where they're playing games, whatever that is. Because she sees the hole in the thing.
True that. Yeah, that's episode
4.
Episode 4, Love Game.
Team Casey, bro.
I know. Love Game. Okay. All right. So in that episode, well, you see her not take Cleveland's advice, which is like, when I was depressed, somebody came into the hole with me and pulled me out. And Laurel's been unable to do that. I get it. Like, I tend to default a little bit more Laurel-ish and a little bit more Conrad-ish, honestly. Like, just like, unless it's a big deal for everyone, I'm just gonna keep it to myself, and I don't need to like burden other people with my bullshit.
Yeah.
But I think because Laurel is that figure, we see it again later on with her and Julia. It's like Laurel's easy to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when she doesn't talk, she is trying to like be a pillar of strength for these kids. But it almost makes it seem like it's a bad thing for Belly to be openly grieving. So a lot of the weirdness between Belly and Laurel right now is because of that same thing. So
I'm happy they didn't spend too much time on the actual slap itself. She was like, you've never done that before. They made sure that was clear. She doesn't need to call child services or anything.
Right. Right. Okay, so then they did it off screen, but Belly and Laurel probably had an actual conversation about the entire line of thinking of why the kids were there and what they've been through the last couple of days, because then Laurel shows up into the kitchen with all the kids. So she walks in and it's a little bit of like a, oh shit, like what's Laurel gonna say moment.
I was surprised she apologized.
You were.
I was like, what'd she have to apologize for?
We skipped the scene where she is downstairs.
Oh, and Steven's kind of breaking it down for her.
Sort of, yeah. Well, it's like Steven and Conrad were like, number one, where have you been? And it escalates because she kind of tips her hat a little bit that she knew that this was a potential problem.
And she was like, I thought they would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Susanna really dropped the ball on not getting the shit straight before she passed away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I mean,
yeah, we later find out that Susanna really didn't talk to anyone about it. She just did her Susanna thing, like, oh, I've got it handled. And that was one of the affairs that she did not handle or get to
I
before
like
she died.
I like that Stephen broke it down. It was like, we're not just here to party. The house is for sale. We're not. It's gone. Like, we're losing the shit.
Yeah, well,
for real.
Conrad was like, we didn't move this shit. Like, you thought we
Yeah.
literally emptied the entire fucking house so that we could throw a party. Like,
That would be major.
so I think that, like, the misguided judgment of all the kids on Laurel's part is like probably where she needed to apologize.
But she was like apologizing for not being around. And I'm like, yeah, but would you want
That's
to be
her-
hanging out with a bunch of kids?
No, well, that's her own guilt, I think. I think she means like not being around in
For
a bigger
Stephen,
in
yeah.
a bigger sense. In a bigger sense. She tells the kids, look, I don't know what the fuck happened or went down or what's going on with Aunt Julia. You know, Sky, call your mom, clean up the fucking house, and I'll try to talk to Aunt Julia.
Taylor leaves.
Yeah, Taylor and Steven,
They have
they're clearly in a relationship.
yeah, and that was really good stuff. It was all like believable stuff. Like, I don't want you to go. Take me to the bus station.
No,
take
I'll
my
take
car.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna point out she dropped babe like 8 times.
Within a very short
period of
period.
time.
Yeah, she was calling everyone babe.
And I was like, huh, okay, she's feeling herself.
But there's a good, you said great Lola when we watched it.
Oh yeah, so like I missed something.
I clearly missed something. Is this official? Is this a thing?
Well, he's clearly obsessed with me, if that's what you're asking.
So good on Taylor. And then you see Jeremiah. It's very small, but it comes back because he's like in tune with the volleyball thing. He's like, oh, weird, no volleyball. And then it'll come back when they're at Finch. But anyway, then good scene, Steven and Taylor when he's like sending her off. Like, I like that they still have their cute little banter, like with like, make sure you put gas in it. Number one rule of road tripping. And drives off. She whipped. She whipped. Yeah, she like burned rubber getting out of there. It's good. So then you have Aunt Julia show up to the house.
Oh yeah.
2 good lines. Like, I'm all for all the small comedic beats.
Yes.
So, oh my God, is that blood?
No, that's Kool-Aid and Goldschlager. I think.
And then Belly goes, we have a visitor. And then Aunt Julia, I think Kira's great. But we both thought
like she ain't mad enough if she wasn't.
Not nearly mad enough.
But she did say that she broke some kind of sales agreement.
I'm in breach of my sales agreement.
I kind of hinted towards that last episode. It wasn't exactly the reason why the sale broke up, but I'm gonna give myself like a 20% correct on that one.
Okay.
On that prediction.
Okay, fair enough. So
but yeah, she would have been hot.
Yeah.
Like, you kids are just something else.
Yeah. She's like, you guys are infuriating, or you guys are impossible. Anyway, all the kids are kind of smirking. I do like that having Laurel there.
Another adult. It was great having another adult finally.
Yes.
Finally. Because Conrad's like been the stand-in as the adult.
And it's not working.
It's still like he's not the adult.
Yeah. So then you get a great Laurel and Kira scene. Sorry, Laurel and Aunt Julia scene.
I like dozed off a little bit during the first watch.
I think we were just
you could like check your phone or like
stop it,
grab a snack real quick.
Oh my God. I think we were all just, well, not all. You guys let me know how you feel. But I think you and I were just kind of like, is it gonna get resolved
this quick,
this easily?
Like, so easy. I thought the scene was long, but now after watching it and rewatching it, I'm like, okay, it kind of like makes sense a little bit. Like,
it's what I was saying. Like, Laurel being an adult, Laurel being the even-keeled person that she is.
Knowing Susanna on a similar level.
On a similar level, knowing Susanna.
And
also just enough of like a distance, like a stranger.
Yeah.
Almost like a therapist, right?
Sure.
Like I told you, Julia goes through, if in that scene, which feels long, but it's in reality very brief, she goes through all probably 5 stages of grief. In how she's talking about it and how she comes out the other side.
There's an acronym there.
And I actually said to you when we were watching it the last time, it makes total and complete sense to me that she would open up to Laurel because she has nothing to lose. She opens up to Laurel because Laurel might actually understand. And thinking back on it, the depth of the shit she was going into and all of her baggage and how much regret she had about not fixing things with Susanna, but also calling out Susanna for like sending a fucking letter.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
She needs to call. If like she don't hear
Yeah.
nothing, she's got to be like, hey, just want to make sure this is still good. Like, I don't want this house to not go to my kids.
Well, also,
email.
it's kind of like, I don't know how many years of it was probably like a lot of years of beef, a couple years of resentment, a total and complete falling out, no communication. You find out your sister is dying via a letter that ends with an, oh, by the way, please do the right thing with the house. Like,
yeah, that's some heavy shit.
But
it's a little like, is it for like a letter is a nice touch, but these are kind of pressing matters. It's a little bit like informal. Like you can't immediately respond. So it's kind of like not a front facing way of facing the problem.
So the fact that it was that justifies that she would never go to the lengths of unearthing all of that detail to the boys. Right? Yeah. Number one, they're kids. Number two, it would get them a little bit more on her side, but it would also ruin a little bit of the memory they have of their mom. And it's just a lot to go through just to defend why you're making a decision to sell the house.
I agree with you. Do you know what the 5 stages of grief are? Because I've looked them up. Yeah,
denial, anger,
bargaining,
depression, and acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were gonna even get one. Damn, girl.
I don't reference things I don't know. Anyway, do you know what scene comes up next? It may.
Is it the garbage scene?
It may or may not be my favorite scene
ever. We could talk about this scene for a minute.
I
don't want to nerd out on the acting again, but they did really well. They did really well.
I want you to nerd out on the acting. In a lot of ways, even though it's a sad, tough, emotional, not very happy scene between the two of them, power rankings, it would probably be in like my top 3 Belly and Conrad
scenes. I'm not even obsessed with this love triangle like you guys are, but that is a really good scene. It's like a really, 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 really good scene. It like pulls all the proper heartstrings. And you said something earlier, and I was like, I dig that. Like, it might be the sadder of the scenes that Conrad is faced with in the episode. Like, because he's saying shit.
He's saying it. He's just not saying it explicitly.
But he's saying enough. But he's like giving he's
giving as much as
he's not a Mac Daddy, so he's not coming out there with the pickup lines and the being so forward with it. Yeah. But he's like hinting towards, I fucked up, but I don't want to mess up again. Like hinting towards like he is into something. But Belly is like stone cold, like
she's cold.
She's cold with it. She's like, no.
Let me break it down. Okay.
Break it down.
And again, we can talk about the acting because Chris, I don't think he is like so in tune.
I think Chris elevates Lola
in this scene, or most of the time.
I mean, that definitely the scene, but
yeah, like
he's got good facials, like his eyes.
But like in reaction to every word that she says, like every single thing. So she says she's hopeful, and he kind of has like this like puppy dog, like hopeful about what? And then she says, my mom's always been pretty good at schooling your dad. Okay. Then he kind of like jokingly like rolls his eyes and is like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Thank you for calling her.
Yes. At the end of the day, if Belly doesn't come, Laurel doesn't get them to get the house back. But that call to Laurel was pretty shot in the dark.
It was desperate.
She didn't even remember it. She was like, what are you doing here? So that was like a prayer that Belly did that ended up being like a really good thing for her in Conrad's eyes and for the whole situation.
Yeah. So he thanks her for it. She's about to leave. And he says, hey, like, can we talk about last night? Conrad is not usually the one who wants to talk about things, so he wants to talk about last night.
He's very. It almost feels like he's going to Stanford. He's out. Like he is making amends and tying up loose ends, as I would say.
Yeah,
he's tying up loose ends everywhere.
You're saying it feels like that even before he admits that he's going to Stanford.
Yeah. Like think about this episode.
Yeah,
he's patching things up with his dad, patching things up with Belly, patching things up with Jeremiah. He's like tying up all the stuff.
Yeah, there is more. I wrote this down. There is more. You can go back and count them. I might, because I'm a psychopath. But there is more, hey, that was my fault. Hey, I'm sorry. And more thank yous from Conrad to literally, you can count them. Almost every single character gets a I'm sorry or an I forgive you or a thank you.
Yeah, I think he's like closing a chapter.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But anyhow, I don't think he's ready to close the chapter on Belly.
No, he's not. Like I said, he's kind of hinting towards that, and maybe he doesn't know where she's going to college next year. They haven't broached that subject.
But
maybe he's thinking that she can get into Stanford too. Who knows?
But okay, wait.
Or go to a smaller school out that way. Palo Alto, stand up.
My point though is he's asking to talk about it. She tries to blow it off, right? Like the thing with Laurel. She's like, "Oh yeah, last night was kind of a blur." And he knows that she is about to try to not talk about what they talked about. And he just jumps in and says, you were right. Like, I know you're trying to play this off right now. I know you know what you said. I know you know what I said. You were right. I should never have ended things that way. She tries to give him a pass, saying you were going through a lot of stuff. And he said, Belly, it was no excuse.
Fair.
That's great. Then they make a decision to not hurt each other anymore.
Yeah, they referenced the house, like what happened on Christmas. I was surprised by that.
Well, he says, I think I was talking to somebody else who was saying the way that you could read that in two ways. Number one, the way he says it is like, it made it almost seem like they had only had sex once.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of how they made it seem. I didn't read it that way. It to me read more of like, it was her first time and it was like a really special moment. And he doesn't want her to look back on their relationship with regret or the fact that that happened between them. Right.
Yeah. I don't think it was such a major part of it.
Well, the fact that they acknowledged it, the interesting thing is Belly actually says, of course it hurts to think back on that.
Yeah. Yep. That did happen.
She said, of course, but I don't regret it. I don't regret anything with us, which is nice. This is the part where Conrad, he misses his moment, right? Jenny said it on the bonus stuff with Gavin, Lola, and her.
That was really good.
That was great.
Like, if you're a Team Jeremiah guy, like, very charismatic.
Gavin?
Yeah, really good Gavin.
But the actual content in the conversations they have are great, which is that, like, Conrad, yes, misses his moment. And I like how Gavin explains it. He says, you know, with Jeremiah, you know what you're getting. And there's something about that is attractive to Belly because she feels like she's heard. She feels like she's on the same page. And he is vulnerable in a way that Conrad is not all the time.
Like, keep in mind, Belly's 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah. She doesn't need to like read in between the lines on fucking everything in the relationship.
Yeah, she's got so little, like so few experiences.
Yeah. But with Conrad, I applaud him because he says more in that scene than he has ever said, ever. And it's still not enough, right? Like you're right. He's basically talking about like, I don't want to hurt you again. I would do it all over if I could. He is asking if she is interested in a sort of
he's
like
feeling around,
a reset.
Feeling around, seeing what the
like he's literally like it,
checking the temperature here.
Without saying it, he could have just said, I don't know if you'll give me a second chance, or I don't know if we can go back, but if you'd be willing to, next time I would never break your heart again.
This is like his thing.
I know.
Always leaves it like
he leaves just enough unsaid.
He shorts it.
And this time he's like, if you think about like tennis.
Yeah.
Okay. It's almost like they're going back and forth.
And he like doesn't do quite enough, barely pops it over the net, and then Belly comes in with a
Yeah, smashes it.
yeah.
Right. And the smashes it is this is where it's tough for our man Conrad. I know we loved hard D each other, and I know you loved me. But is it okay now that we have closure? We can just be friends.
That's not
like,
the exact wording, but
no, it's not the exact word. But like literally, this guy is like loved friends.
And Belly's body language, like great acting. Her body language was friends.
Yeah.
Like if I'm putting myself in Connie's shoes here, I'm like friends.
He is, yeah. He has
heartbroken on the walk away.
Yeah, and that's what I meant when I said, yes, the scene at the very end is like shocking to us. Not that he knew it was Jeremiah, right? Like he's been pretty oblivious to Belly's advancements towards Jeremiah, but he can definitely tell that she's cold.
Yeah.
Back at the old garbage cans, like he can tell. The heartbreaking part is like when they hug. You even said it, like you said, like, oh, he wasn't ready to let go.
Yeah, she would like had this little like there's two of those too. There's one with Adam, I felt like as well. But Belly was ready to let go, and I feel like Conrad
held just a second longer.
Yeah.
So like he's clutching her, he lets go of her, and then when she walks off, he like there's like
my heart hurts.
My heart hurts. So sad. But a great scene.
Yeah, really good scene.
Really good scene between those two. Okay.
Does Adam enter the chat now?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. So then we get Julia and Sky real quick.
Man, they got the mom and child energy down. I felt like cool mom, like kind of almost friends, but like they've obviously been through some shit together.
Well, if you think about it,
they've obviously been through some shit.
They're really all each other has.
Yeah, as I'm saying. They've been through some shit together. So they're like there's a respect level. There's still a friendship level. They obviously are very deep with each other.
Yeah. But I like when I like seeing Julia like go into mom mode, like, oh my God, tell me everything. Because it's very clear that Sky is an introvert.
There's a good Sandlot reference where Scotty Smalls, the main character basically in Sandlot, is like he's a nerd and all he does is stay inside and play with his toys and stuff. And the mom is like, go outside, get into trouble for Christ's sake. Like just just I don't care if you get in trouble, just get out of the house and like do your stuff. So but it's very clear that the house now means something. Cousins in the house in these relationships does mean something to Sky. I mean, Sky is a great addition to the friend group.
Yeah.
Like
all right, then we have
I wonder if Cam's in episode 8.
I don't know.
Just thinking out loud.
Find out when you do your little IMDb thing.
That'll be for the preview episode.
Yeah.
But
okay. So we missed it, but obviously
bring it back.
Obviously Laurel comes in with Julia before all the other scenes that we talked about and says, okay, I'm gonna back out.
Oh yeah.
Which is really just her way of saying, all right, you guys have a little bit more time. I'm gonna back out of this offer. And then the kids are all like jumping for joy, and it's like, no. Laurel comes back and is like, no. All that she is saying is she will leave just a crack of the door open. Hey, we still got to get your dad on board. I'm gonna make a phone call. Let's go.
So Laurel calls Adam. Adam comes in
typical Adam fashion.
Yes. He comes in like throws his keys down, grabbing his bacon, chewing on it, and
what does he say? Like, oh, thanks, Laurel.
These kids
like,
have been a
these
problem.
kids are driving me nuts.
Yeah.
And Laurel is like, I'm on the side of the boys. That's why you're here.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sound like I'm too pro Adam or not, but
well, give us your take.
Okay, so they do try and bully him. It's like it feels a little bit bullying. I was like trying to get him to like buy this house.
They gang up on him.
Yeah.
Fair.
And at the end of the day, I'm like, it's his money. It's like a lot. I'm sure the house is a lot of money. So I'm happy that they found a solution where he's not bullied into shelling out $3 million or whatever it is.
Sure.
And he's able to be like, well, this other solution where I'm not just shelling out $1 gazillion.
Right.
I'm happy with the resolution. It was really good writing, and I feel like they did him justice for his character.
A swan song.
A swan song. They were like, I don't think he'll probably be in the next episode. It's kind of like his exit of the series.
Not of the series. He'll be back.
Oh yeah, season 3, but the season.
Yeah.
Exit from the season. He gets like kind of some good thumbs up. He's like has an emotional scene.
Yes.
Where he talks about how much the house means to him.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I didn't.
No, that's where you can start to see like the expression on people's face change, and he's like working through it, like very similar to Aunt Julia earlier, right? You can kind of see her working through it, and he's kind of working through it. It only works though because Laurel has to call him out on some shit, and then so does Aunt Julia. So like the reason that the scene works.
The scene does work.
The reason that the scene and the whole situation works, which we were like, is it really going to like tie that nicely as a bow? I think that it works because Conrad really despises his father because I think he sees all the bad parts sometimes of himself inside of his father, which is like this desire to just be like, I'm going to wash my hands clean. Like,
I never realized that before.
Yeah. But that's his MO is like the way he's treating this entire thing is like, look, your mom's dead. He's like very technical about it. He's like, your mom's dead. It's not my house. Aunt Julia wants to sell it. They didn't work their shit out. It's hard for me to be in this house. I am carrying all this guilt.
I don't want you to liquidate your trusts.
Because your wife, my wife didn't really like me a little bit towards the end.
Okay.
And as a father, what kind of father is going to let their sons liquidate their trust, right? Like he's coming very technical. And he beats down Laurel in a very out of line manner because he's like, oh, like you treat this like it's your house, but it's not. You're like meddling in our family stuff. When really what Laurel's calling out is not the house shit. Like what they're all calling out is your son's mom just died.
Yeah. Yes.
And you are an idiot to think that this house doesn't mean something to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit selfish and kind of like brush offy to not even have a conversation with your kids.
So I think that like the Monday morning quarterbacking of the parenting, which we're not, is that they really dropped the ball on not talking to their kids about this. Like Susanna should have had a conversation with the kids, and Adam should have been like there's all these reasons not to, but hey guys, there are these X, Y, and Z options to get this house. You really want it? Okay. Like Danny Tanner would like.
How do you prepare the kids for this and not just treat it like it's not a big deal?
Yeah. He treated it. That was where kind of Adam's short-sightedness or whatever.
And that's
not
also
treating it like it's a big deal.
And that's also where Julia,
or
right?
his being selfish and like it's hurts me to be here, so
therefore you can't have it either.
Yeah.
And also, Julia saying straight up, like, well, the part that I now am starting to see clearly is we've had a conversation, multiple conversations since the funeral, and I had to deal with your kids fighting more to keep this house than you have. Like, what's going on there, Adam?
There should have been a Zoom call because Laurel didn't talk to nobody about it. She knew for a long time. And Julia, Adam, all the adults knew, but they never communicated with the kids. And like, maybe that's how it is. Like, I don't remember having a say
that's
in
where Conrad,
house purchasing when I was a kid either.
That's why Conrad and Jeremiah are so upset, right? Because they think they found out something major and told their dad about it, only to find out that he's known for a while. And his answer is, it is what it is.
Yeah. So moral of this, not moral of the story, but end of the story is they're going to sell their Boston house to get this house.
Totally makes sense.
Love it. I'm like, that's clean.
You said something that I wasn't even thinking. Adam explains it of like, Jeremiah, you'll be off at college, so he's going to be living at college. Conrad's already at college. You said something interesting, which was that you don't think that Adam has really lived at that Boston house.
No, I don't. I would assume that he's not.
Yeah, like, you remember,
he's
guys,
probably living in like a condo or an apartment.
Yeah, if they were like separated or like weren't on the best of terms, like he may have already moved out and had been living in an apartment.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they had another place even when they were on good terms.
Mhm.
Like have a place in Boston, have a place at Cousins, and maybe have like another
Sure.
spot somewhere.
Sure. But then thinking about it, the mom is what kept all those three guys together. And like they'll need to find a way to like make it work as a family, like the three of them. But it's not like Conrad and Jeremiah are dying to come home to the Boston's house and hang out with each other and like hang out with their dad, right? Like
no, that's a bummer, man.
Which sucks, but it's like no, like a lot more of the emotional ties are to Cousins than to that Boston house.
You wish they had some kind of like connection, like every fall they'd go home and watch the Patriots games together or something. You wish that there was some kind of.
I mean, I think that there probably was at some point, but you can tell that like a lot of that is like fallen by the wayside.
Yeah.
So, well,
the summer place could be that from now on. Maybe they all still go there. Summer.
Well, I mean, it's the only collective house that they all have.
Because think about it, they don't even loop Adam in on the Stanford conversation.
Yeah, but it became clear that Laurel knew, and it became clear that Belly knew
about
Stanford.
Susanna knew.
Yeah, I think Susanna knew.
But like Adam accessed the picture without even. No, you think he does know?
Yeah, I think he knows.
Okay,
is my point.
But on the decision to act, because Conrad's willing to let it go.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm not going to make this final. Da 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 da.
I don't think Conrad cares.
Got to get back to Brown.
I don't think Conrad cares, and I don't think Adam cares where Conrad ends up living. Not that he's an absentee father, but I just don't think that he would care.
What do you prefer Brown or Stanford?
Whatever Conrad wants.
Like Stanford's not an Ivy, but Stanford's cool. I love all the Ivies, by the way.
Sure.
Stanford's awesome. I mean, it's on the West Coast, which is cool.
I don't care. For Conrad's character now, if apparently Finch is 15 minutes away and Belly and Jeremiah are going to keep doing that, he should definitely go to Stanford. Anyway. Okay, so end of that scene, there's a little moment that if you blink, you miss it. But Conrad's visibly happy. He like puts his hand on Jer, like almost like a, hey, we won. And Jer, it like looks at him like, nah, bruh, and leaves. Conrad follows him down to the beach. They still have to talk about last night.
I was like, after this scene, I was like, I wish Jer said some more stuff because he really doesn't say a lot.
You had predicted that Jer would be the one that initiates the conversation.
No.
And I was surprised that it was Conrad. But okay.
Well, Conrad's just, clearing the air with everybody. Because him and Adam hugged too. I don't know if you mentioned that, but
yes,
that was like,
that didn't happen yet.
Oh, sorry.
Oops. So Conrad goes down to talk to Jeremiah.
Yep.
Conrad pretty much knows that Jeremiah doesn't really want to have this conversation. Like he wants to, but doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So Conrad just starts by apologizing. He apologized for the right things. He didn't apologize for Jeremiah's shitty stuff that he said, like all the stuff that Jeremiah like threw in his face last night.
Just I apologize for not taking you serious.
Exactly.
Not,
not considering. Yeah,
that's fair, and that's another step in their relationship together. Mm-hmm. But Jer is like
he's still in his feelings.
Let's just, if we feel something, we say it.
Yeah.
You could argue that is the place where he should be like, since you and Belly are friends now, which Conrad comes out and says,
yes.
To Jer, and I'm putting myself in that mind. It's like,
that okay, you should know.
Okay, so now I should tell you that Belly's been coming on to me pretty hard.
We've almost kissed like 15 times in the last 2 days.
Like, hey, or is it a situation where Jeremiah is like, better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission?
I don't know.
Right? Because
I don't know. Like one apology, I get it. Like one apology doesn't necessarily like make Jeremiah feel better. It doesn't automatically make him like want to be that straightforward. It's just ironic. Like it's very ironic.
Yeah, if he was like, yeah, so Belly's been, coming on to me pretty hard lately. Just to let you know that.
Yeah.
What do you think Conrad does?
If Jeremiah said that?
Yeah.
Probably has a fucking meltdown.
Yeah, I see him having like more panic attack than like storming off and going to find Belly and being like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?"
Yeah, he was just freak out.
like fly the coop like he does.
Freak out.
He'd probably go back to Brown by himself.
Yeah. Well, he's about to freak out, right? because he
Fast forward to the end of the episode. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get there.
And that doesn't have to be like an emotional breakdown or a freak out, like openly. He doesn't have to yell at the two of them, but like he himself is really gonna be like, oh my God, I fucked this up and now it's too late. Which is, spoiler alert, how I think it's gonna end. All right. So those two have a good conversation. You said, I don't think Jeremiah said enough.
Yeah, I was hoping that he could have been like belly stuff, whatever, or just like a more talk about dad in general, whatever.
And he also never said anything that gave Conrad any hope. Right? He never said like, hey man, thank you for apologizing. So, he never said I'm sorry. No. And he never said like,
but I
appreciate that.
He doesn't, right? Yeah. But then now I'm thinking he makes up for it. He kind of pulls himself out of the still jerky, feeling
in the next scene
when he is like, you're going to Stanford, bro.
Do you think he only does that because he sees Conrad also be nice to the dad?
Oh,
I think it's Jeremiah being like, oh, Conrad is like really trying, because like it took a lot of guts for him to come and apologize to me. That couldn't have been easy for him. Now he's like thanking my father and hugging him.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, I think Jeremiah is kind of like, maybe I could get down with like this new version of you. Yeah,
and Jeremiah, he kind of orchestrates it. Good Jeremiah here. Mm-hmm. He's like, we're gonna do an all-night study session.
Yeah.
Let's have a nap. We'll boot and we'll rally and do a study and then fly back to Brown.
Yeah, those two don't have a ton of great moments, but I like Conrad just being like, don't look at me like that. And Jared's like, look at you like what? All right, like they're
still brothers at the end of the day, man.
They're still brothers at the end of the day. So then Belly comes in, guns a blazing. Actually, no.
Everyone take a nap.
Yeah, hang on. Where are we at that point? No. It's not everyone takes a nap. So then we have the exit of Sky and Aunt Julia.
Yeah.
So like now things are wrapping up. She doesn't have to say.
They're definitely setting up season 3 here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like Laurel and Aunt Julia will now be the new Laurel and Susanna.
Yeah, and Sky will be back.
Yep.
And again, Conrad is like thanking Aunt Julia for everything. He gives Sky like to go things of food and it's like, Sky, parting gift for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a shithead to Sky originally and Aunt Julia, so there's a little apology there.
Yeah,
send him off.
And
this is where Jeremiah says, no, Laurel, you guys can't leave yet. We have to help Conrad study so we can get into Stanford.
Yeah.
So this is the part where Steven is like, I don't need my mom's permission to like study with you guys. And she gives him a look. He's like, I need my permission to study with you guys. And Laurel's like, all right, I'll stay, but am I sleeping on the floor on a sleeping bag? And that's when Julia's like, hey, we have the hotel actually for an extra night.
When we go to Wilmington, we got to find that place.
We surely will.
The hotel.
Okay.
Looks like a cool spot. Maybe we can rent it.
So the cute part of this is that Jeremiah says the thing about Stanford. Laurel already knows, right? So Laurel's like, you better do more than just pass. And he's like, yes, ma'am. And then Belly she's looking at Conrad the whole time like, you didn't tell me that you got in.
Oh.
And so they have a scene together. And he's, again, trying to make it seem like not a big deal. He's like, yeah, I might go, I may not go. Like, I got in. And she's like, come on. Like, I helped you proof your essay like 5 times. So that's where we were wrong, right? I thought that she wasn't going to know that he got into Stanford. She was going to have some kind of like reaction about him moving across the country, but she helped him. Like, she knows this has been a dream for him. So she actually helped him. And it had to have happened when they were together.
Yeah, because he says that me and Susanna did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Conrad says that him and Susanna like applied together.
Yeah. All right. So, and then things got worse with Mom, and he wasn't really sure if he was going to leave or not, and didn't want to leave Jer. Anyway, so then we get that, and then So then we get back in the kitchen. That's the problem, right? There's like so many scenes in the same exact setting. So then we get back in the kitchen. Conrad's saying how tired he is. He's like laying across the kitchen island. Jer and Steven are eating hours old bacon. And Belly comes in, trotting in all happy, like, we have to study now. They end up taking their nap, which happens in the book. And then she goes and wakes them up. What does Jer say? It's really cute. He's like hanging on her as
gotta get him into Stanford.
Something like
Mr. Stanford.
Mr. Stanford. It was cute. And then it was my happy moment in the scene because it's such a huge part of the book. And it stands out to me so much, the McDonald's.
I didn't know about that, but hey.
She tells it in the book. She's like, yeah, like the boys, if there's one weakness that I know the Fisher boys have, they'll do anything for like a pile of McDonald's cheeseburgers. And they used to order a bunch of them and we would have cheeseburger eating contests. And she's like, and one time I won. So like, it's a tradition. She knows these guys. So they go out and she has laid out all across. She's got coffee. She's got like 4 like large sodas, all these fries.
Does anything taste better than a Diet Coke from McDonald's? No. Something about that fountain.
Fun fact, we decided to have McDonald's cheeseburgers today. So nice product placement, guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. The only thing is, those fries are going to get soggy if you leave them out too long.
That's true. They got to start studying quick.
They got to start, get them fries as the appetizer. A McDonald's cheeseburger will hold its form for like
days,
unlimited amount of time.
So Steven walks past them eating his cheeseburger. Jeremiah is like, when do I get one? And then she's like, we have an incentive system here, a reward system. She's like, if Conrad studies, he gets a cheeseburger. He's like, when do I get one? If Conrad studies, you get a cheeseburger. He's like, okay, fine. And then I have to say it because it's a part of the book. But Conrad, again, swing and a miss, right? Over at the trash cans. Oh,
God, yeah.
Swing and a miss over at the trash can. So now he's trying it in a different way. And he's like, a reward system, huh? Like, what else do I get? And she just like pauses, almost like, wait, now you're doing the flirty thing to me? And
it doesn't fit Conrad.
And she says,
just cheeseburgers.
Just cheeseburgers. And he's like, fine. So then they're all studying.
Yep.
Great little montage. Kid Cudi song drops as they're studying.
That would be my second favorite song.
One of the first things you
the Kid Cudi. Nice. Yeah.
One of the first things you said was like, Jeremiah doesn't know how to highlight.
Yeah, he was a little bit wonky with that highlighter, man.
They're like studying flashcards. Belly made that was a cute part. Belly made him a study guide while he was sleeping.
Ooh.
She made him a study guide and he like looks at her and like does another like, hey, thank you. But
you strike me as a good studier.
But like, really, thank you for this.
You're a good studier.
Me?
Yeah.
Of course I'm a good studier.
I've seen you make flashcards before.
I make flashcards for everything.
Yeah.
I make outlines for everything. Yeah. I'm a good studier.
I'm a bad studier.
You're not a good studier.
I'm a non-existent studier.
So
I can practice. I practice.
Yeah.
More than study, if that makes sense.
So they study. And Belly is quizzing Conrad. He gets an answer right, and she like throws him a cheeseburger.
Well, no, it throws to Jeremiah first.
Oh yeah,
and he fucking fumbles the shit.
He fumbles the cheeseburger.
Poor Jeremiah, man. They don't let my man do anything properly athletic or like know how.
It is unbelievable. It is so unbelievable.
He fumbles the cheeseburger.
It is almost like it's almost like the belly falls thing.
Yeah, right.
It's like if we notice it, like the writers definitely must know it. So they're like, oh, here will be another funny thing.
Yeah.
Throw him a cheeseburger. And he's just like and they must go tell Gavin, like, oh yeah, this one, you're not going to catch this one either.
Yeah. Try and look as uncoordinated as possible. It's only right for the setup. He throws it to Conrad and he like Karate Kid snatches that thing
out of thin air.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's funny. And then again, a whole montage. Like there's the push-up thing. There's her feeding Jeremiah. And she's like, you need like energy. And then they're all waiting because it's probably late at night. Mm-hmm. And then she puts on song.
Last night.
So
I don't know who sings that.
at first they're kind of like rolling their eyes because Belly's just like they're all tired and Belly's just being Belly. So Conrad says, "My mom loves this song." Then they all start dancing in the kitchen. I am such a big sucker for anything that has anyone dancing in the kitchen. It just seems like
Oh, Bull Durham.
Yeah, like perfect, like all American, like just good times. Like throw on some music, cook, serve food, like family together. Everyone's just dancing and having a good time. It's like it's great.
Okay, I love good dance in the kitchen. Hey,
I will say though, you notice who doesn't dance at first? Conrad.
I got a big take on this, and I'll.
Well, I was gonna give my take on this. Can I go first? Or do you think I'll step on yours?
You might step on mine.
You only go.
It ties into another thing that happens a little bit down the road. So.
Oh, mine doesn't tie in. Can I go with mine? Go. Okay. So, well, Conrad says I don't dance, right? Which to me is just ironic because think of a character in the show so far that has danced more. He danced with Belly at the debutante ball. He dances with Belly at prom, even when he's having like a shitty time. And when none of the boys in the flashback in season 1 wanted to help her practice dancing, he gets up from the chess game and like goes and dances with her. So the point I'm trying to make is my man says he doesn't dance, but we've literally watched him dance 3 times every time Belly has asked him. So of course,
turn over a new leaf here.
He starts dancing. Okay. Only for Belly.
I got something for that.
Okay. You want to hold off?
I'm holding off until another similar situation.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. So then this is where they fell asleep, right? So like now the studying's over. They're asleep. Belly wakes up, looks around, and Conrad's not there. She goes out. He's like sitting by the pool. We find out that he's like in his head. He's like now nervous. It's like when you pretend that you don't want something, like he's just gonna give up and flunk his exam, then you don't have as many nerves about that. But now that he's like trying, he's got a big exam the next day.
You're afraid to say you want something because once you tell someone you want something, then if you don't get it, you failed.
There.
Yeah.
Look at you. So he says, like, on the one hand, if I fail, then I fail at Brown. And on the other hand, if I fail, like, I can't go to Stanford. And she just says something like, you know, you'll figure it out. And then she starts to tell him that she is starting to have feelings for Jeremiah, except he's fallen asleep.
It's not 100% confirmed, but you'd think that she's saying Jeremiah.
I think she's saying Jeremiah because
I certainly did, but it's not like
she looks inside. She says you know, you'll get a second chance.
If you're listening, it's just like I'm starting to have feelings. Nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like it would assume she's talking about Jer.
Yeah.
But
again, the writers are cleverly leaving
leaving some space there,
leaving a little bit of space. But I think it's Jeremiah.
Sure, I definitely do agree with you.
And Lola said the same thing in this like Entertainment Tonight article or Entertainment Weekly. We'll talk about it later on, but Belly tried to be honest. Sure.
And he's like, sure, he still has those feelings for Belly, but it's more on the down slope than like
what?
The highest level of him ever wanting Belly.
No, I think that he really, really.
You think this is the most he's ever wanted Belly?
Yes.
Then why?
Because this is the first time that he is unsure of himself when it comes to Belly.
Well, he's had times where he's actually said his feelings. So I would think that the times where he's actually fought through his inner shit to say it is when he's wanted her most. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows? All right. So then we have Laurel and Susanna.
Oh,
so now it's like the next morning, and Laurel's come to the house in the morning. She looks over at the dock. This is when you cried.
Yeah,
it's so sad.
Big time. First time watch.
sad.
I haven't paid attention the second or third times because I don't want to see it again.
And I'll say it's not just sad because of the situation. The situation itself is already sad. Like you could have just shown me no dialogue with those two and it would have been sad, but the writing
Well,
was
having
really good.
it's like when you're able to joke about such like when you're that close where you can joke about such a morbid and sad thing.
That's how close they actually are.
That's how sad it is.
Oh, you're tearing up.
And when like there's something about friendship that is, I don't know,
it sucks.
Well, like
it's like good, it's good and bad, right? Like because what does Susanna say? She's like, you have to finish this because I'll be long gone and you'll still be stuck writing this book. She's like, if you release this book and it's not like number one.
Yeah, when I die.
She's like, if I die and your sales don't skyrocket, I'm gonna be so pissed at you. And the like, I hate you sometimes. I love you too. Like,
that's good stuff.
That was great. It was so good. All right. Laurel saying they need to go.
This episode is so long.
I know. Then they have Laurel saying,
good,
hey
though.
kids, we have to go.
Yep.
And Belly says we have to do one thing first. So they go and they take their summer picture.
Mm-hmm.
This time, Belly is mooning over Jeremiah.
That's a new term I haven't heard until this
mooning, just like gushing.
Season. I know. Until the season
like
of
loving eyes. Yeah. So she's doing it to Jeremiah, which is all he wanted, right? Like, because he saw the pictures in the past, and that made him feel a certain way. So
our dog is always mooning over one of us when we have food.
Oh yeah, the food thing helps. All right, so then
you get a Stephen and Conrad
Stephen and
scene.
Conrad hang back, and Conrad is like looking at Belly, who's like being chased by Jeremiah. So he's looking over, and Conrad again says thank you to Stephen. He's like, hey man, thank you for being there for me through all of this. It's kind of like it's coming to a resolution with the house and stuff. So I think Conrad just like,
look at that.
Thank you so much for being there. And Stephen once again is like noticing that he's looking at Belly. He's like, are you going to tell her how you feel?
Yeah, they're on a whole wavelength, these two.
And Stephen's way of telling Conrad, like, hey, people can change, people can grow together, people can grow into each other is like, you know, a couple of days ago, I probably would have said like, fuck no. But in the last couple of days, I've also found something pretty special with Taylor. Now
I can't wait to get home and see her.
Yeah. And I think he's basically saying, if you feel that way about Belly, which you clearly do, like, don't hold back. Just tell her.
Bring her to Stanford. Quick question. Who do you think Conrad would choose as his best man? Stephen or Conrad? Or Stephen or Jeremiah?
Despite who he marries?
Just like, let's take Belly out of it, I guess.
Okay.
Actually, no. What do you think? What if it was Belly?
I think it's still Jeremiah.
Anyway.
I think it's a little awkward if it is Jeremiah.
Oh, man. I don't know. That's fucking wacky.
Yeah, but I still think it's Jeremiah. I think the ceremony of it all is still Jeremiah.
Who would Stephen choose?
Best man?
Yeah.
I think Stephen would choose Conrad.
Okay, and who would Jeremiah choose?
I don't know.
Because once you have a best man, like if Conrad gets married first and they choose the brother, then the younger brother, I think, goes a different direction.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway. Interesting.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man, him and Conrad are getting close.
Spoiler alert, we might get the answer to your question in season in a future season. I'll just say in a future season. All right. So then you have them back out at the parking lot. Okay. And what is happening? Okay. So Stephen, I didn't really love this Stephen and Belly scene as much.
Which one?
The one where Stephen is like, okay, you did good. Belly's like playfully like hitting him. What are you doing? He's got Junior Mint sunglasses on. I don't know why.
They look pretty good in this. I don't know, it was a little small.
No, they make you look like an alien. like a Martian.
What's
All right.
the Stephen and Belly scene?
What ends up happening is Steven just told Conrad to tell Belly how he feels about her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tells Belly, your instincts are pretty good, follow your gut. Steven is thinking he's playing matchmaker, but he's actually like throwing gasoline on the fire because he's thinking the advice he's giving to both of them is going to bring them together, but it's not, because he also doesn't know that Belly's feelings are with Jeremiah. Yeah. Her gut, right? Her gut is telling her to go with Jeremiah. So there's that. There's a really good, very small again, but Conrad and Laurel. He just kind of looks at her, just like, you're gonna come back here, right? Like, you're gonna come back to the summer house, even though my mom's not here. You're not gonna get rid of me that easily. I don't know the sequential order of any of this at this moment, but then Belly's all excited. She runs over and says, like, hey guys, I'm coming with you. Laurel says to Conrad, again, this might be out of order, but Laurel says to Conrad, like, hey, like, have her back, like home and safe.
Because I was thinking, just from like a logistics point of view, like, it would be so much easier for Belly just to go back with the car that's already going to Philadelphia.
Of course.
But she wants to party, man.
She wants to see it through. And she probably wants more time with Jeremiah, honestly.
True that.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like all of them standing right before they all depart, where they're talking about the next time they'll be back at the cousin's house. And obviously Jeremiah has nothing going on because it's his last summer before college.
Mm-hmm.
Steven has nothing going on because it's his last summer before college. Belly is in high school. So they all
volleyball.
Yeah. So once Conrad goes and takes his last exam, he says, like, I have to be at Sanford for orientation, but like July 4th. And remember, July 4th is like a big deal at the cousin's house.
Yeah.
So they kind of like make this little pact to come back on July 4th, and we'll see if that's in the finale.
How about that flag cake they make in that extra footage? Yeah. Oh my god.
We'll talk about more. Maybe we'll talk about that in the preview.
Okay.
Right? Like maybe flag cake gets an appearance, a cameo.
What?
Okay. So then, before they depart,
mm-hmm.
they all kind of look at Belly.
Oh damn.
And it's funny because usually they just do it to her, but this time it's like she's in on the joke. And she's like, no. Jeremiah, I think, is like, come on. And Conrad just looks at her and is like, please? Like, please, can we do it? And she just like gives up. She's like, fine. Conrad picks her up from like her shoulders or whatever. The other two grab her legs. They toss her into the pool. And what did Lola say on that bonus thing? She says, like,
it does feel like a closure thing. Like, the first thing was like the first time I did it in season 1 was like the kickoff to summer, and this one was like the wrap up of an era.
Yeah,
feel that.
And they're all in different places and headspaces.
Yeah, except jumping in the pool with your clothes on and having to ride in a car like that sounds like a nightmare, a literal nightmare.
Yeah. So they do that, and that's very cute. This is when this happened. I remember you looked at me and you're like, this is such a fun episode. Because between like the dancing, the studying, the cheeseburgers,
there's so much. There's like so many like memorable things that happen in the show.
Yeah. So that's great. Then they're getting into the range. Conrad.
This is everything.
Yeah.
This is like the symbolism of the show.
Why let you go off here?
I can. So Conrad puts a towel down,
mm-hmm.
which we go to the pool almost every day.
Any reasonable adult.
I put my towel down around the driver's seat every day.
I mean, you're driving an $80,000 car. Like, put a fucking towel down.
Yeah. So Conrad puts a towel down, and then he's like, "Hey, maybe you guys could put it."
Well, he's talking to Belly, but yeah.
Well, Jared didn't either.
No, we didn't see what Jared did.
Well, you'd assume, but Belly just gets in the car with her wet ass clothes, and it's like, it's kind of a symbolism for everything, in my opinion, where it's like they are not
being considerate
of Conrad and his property or whatever. It's not necessarily it's a foreshadowing of what could come.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think it's like a gigantic fuck you. It's just like from a writer perspective, like from a plot device perspective.
And especially when you couple that in with what she says. Because she says, I don't know what she says. It's
you
like,
have to deal with the
you have to deal with the
consequences of your actions.
Where
She's
it's like,
talking about you guys threw me in a pool.
Yeah, but it's like you have to deal with the consequences of your actions, plus the no towel on the seat in your car.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's coming here.
Well, yeah.
It's this is what I see after seeing it.
After seeing the entire thing. Yeah, I get it. Okay. So then you have them driving in the car. I'm gonna go into the breakdown of this at the end, but they're driving in the car. They're driving in silence.
Driving.
Conrad is studying. You're like, why would they drive in silence? And Conrad's studying. So I think that aligns with the book.
Put on the Better Glasses podcast.
Yeah, like great road trip. And then Belly says she's cold. She ends up putting on Conrad's sweatshirt. Well, we're going to talk about it. She ends up putting on Conrad's sweatshirt. The fact that she's putting on Conrad's sweatshirt and swerved Jeremiah's way of making her feel better, which is turning off the AC. You can tell there's a little storm cloud over Jeremiah, except that Belly is very in tune with how Jeremiah is feeling and reacting, and she doesn't want him to be jealous. So she is trying to lighten the mood. Mm-hmm. She decides to put on a song. There were a lot of bets out there that it was going to keep with the book. If it kept with the book, it would have been Summer Love by JT.
It just can't be summer.
And you especially know, big JT girly. But it does not happen. Instead, they revert back to book 1, chapter 1, Free Fallin'. Was actually the Laurel, Stephen, Belly drive to Cousins in the first book. But they use it here.
She's a good girl.
Yeah. So her and Jeremiah singing is really cute. Conrad in the back just being like, I'm trying to study here, guys, is cute. Mm-hmm. Then Conrad ends up joining in. I love at the end, after he's joined in, he's just kind of like, fucking idiots.
He's always the last one to join in.
He is always the last.
And this is my take. He's the last one to jump in the pool. He's the last one to dance. He's the last one to say yes to the party at the house. And it's not like in his nature, but he sees that Belly enjoys it. And it's like, I have to play this game. I'll play the game. You know what I mean? If
I don't even know if it's the game. I think if this is what Belly likes, I'll do it. But he's always the last one, and it's always begrudgingly, and he always you know what I mean? He's like, if that's what she likes, if she likes Jared, a fun guy doing all this fun shit, fine. I'll jump in the pool. Take. I'll sing. I'll dance. I'll party. That's my take. That's your take. I would take that a step further, and I think that he, we've already talked about, he is the best parts of himself when he's with her. And I think he is, we'll talk about this with the brown sweatshirt thing, but I think he's just very attuned to her. I think that he and her have this not just chemistry, but he has and will always pay attention to what her needs are. Mm-hmm. And what she likes and what she wants. And anytime he can provide that, I think he wants to, even to your point, begrudgingly.
That's fine, right? But with Conrad, sometimes it feels like it's a chore, where with Jeremiah, it just comes naturally.
Until it becomes about more than just dancing and lighthearted. When it's about joining in on a study session dance party versus she's cold and I'm going to give her my jacket. That's a little bit different. So, good take though. Nice.
I thought of that one today on the tennis court.
Team Casey on the tennis court, no less. You're thinking about TSITP in the real world.
Listen, you don't give me much choice, babe.
We got him, guys.
She's always bringing up different things.
We got him. Yeah. Anyway, okay. The cutest Belly and Jeremiah that I've seen all season. All season, I'm like, I know where this is going. 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 And while there were some cute moments, I felt like some of it was much and shoehorned, and I didn't love it when it. I didn't love it when it was all Jeremiah just being like outwardly like flirtatious and like sultry and like trying to be like that cool suave guy. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
But if this is the actual real like ramp up to the kiss, which is the climax of it, they did a great job.
When that montage hit, I felt like they took us on a ride all the way up until then, and I'm like, I see it now.
Yeah.
For the first time, I'm like, they took us on a ride. They got me there. This thing is going to be good for a few years. I can see that. I can see them being great right now. School, fun. Like, Jer got her, well, like, finally got her into the volleyball, like, kind of gives her that nudge in the right direction.
Yeah.
For volleyball that she's needed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But there's also a world where, as adults, Conrad and Belly could be a really strong union. Yeah.
But what I was saying is like, even if you're team Conrad, it's okay to be sad about the fact that it was done this way, but also be understanding and appreciative of the artistic direction of it.
Yeah.
Because this is the Jeremiah and Belly equivalent of the frolicking that Conrad and Belly had on the beach in the snow. Yeah. It was done almost the exact same way. Like, lit. They're both having fun.
They seem like college sweethearts, man.
Yeah, it's like he's picking her up, like she's picking him up. There's like the whole montage, the music, the way it was shot.
Potentially coming to volleyball games.
Oh, I loved it so much I hated it. As in, or vice versa, right? I hated that I loved it so much. It's probably
that was all really good.
Because you're right. In the book, spoiler alert, stop listening here and fast forward, but in the book, I was so shocked because at the end of book 2, spoiler alert, Conrad kills the love Belly has for him. Literally, it's just like
murder.
Like, does it purposefully and tells Jeremiah that he can be with her and exits. Jeremiah and Belly just drive home together and they hold hands. Mm-hmm. And that's where it ends. Like, that's how book 2 ends. Book 3 fucking starts with them in college together. Mm-hmm. And it was such whiplash for me when I read it. I was like, wait, what? We're fast forwarding this many years and they've been together for how long? And she just happens to end up at the same college as him. I was mad that I liked it this much. I was mad that, to your point, I can see it now. When she is, and it's, Belly is problematic and messy. And we've said so much that it's hard to be Team Belly, but the reason it worked for me is because I am Team Belly, right? It's like, I liked that this young girl who's trying to find herself goes to visit a college. Yes, it's not the college of her choice, and yes, it's not the college she wanted to go to,
but she can see it.
She's standing there in front of this guy that she wants to be with, and is like, and volleyball that's made her feel shitty about herself all year, and she's like, oh my God, I can see it. And like, how great would it be if you were coming to my games and we could have late night study sessions and like we'll order pizza at 2 a.m. And I'm like, I am Team Belly and I do want her to have all of those experiences.
At the end of the day, life doesn't work without hopes and dreams. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, that keeps so many people going.
Yeah. Well, her dream has always just been that Conrad thing. And then she saw it break, and she's ready for new dreams.
Yeah, and
she's ready for new dreams.
And in her mind, I think she's not seeing the end of book 3 right now. Mm-hmm. Like, in her mind, she's like seeing this college experience. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. It's awesome. And like, there comes times in your life where like you're unsure about yourself, you're having imposter syndrome, whatever. But a couple good things happen, and you like see it. You're like, okay, this I could do this. This could work. I just got to keep working hard, whatever, you know. And she sees it right now. She sees the path.
That's where I think the disconnect is, right? Like, as viewers, it's okay for us as viewers to care about Endgame. But if you put yourself into the shoes of a 16-year-old girl, I don't want my 16-year-old daughter fascinated with Endgame. Like, there's so much life to live without worrying about whether your boyfriend when you're 17 years old is going to be the one you marry.
Yeah.
There's so many life experiences to have in between then. That you don't want to anchor yourself to that. Now, conversely, I think that where Conrad's head is at is, I think why it's hard for him, even though Steven tells him to go for it, and even though him not going for it is going to cause him a lot of pain and strife over the next however many years, I think that for Conrad, he's like, no, the next time that I am with Belly, like, that's it for me. And I don't even know if he's ready to step into that at age 18. But I think he knows that he's like, no, I like have one more shot and that's it.
Best thing for Conrad right now is to go to Stanford, turn the chapter, find himself, restart.
It's the whole, like, if you love something, let it go. Now, I think he's going to be a guy who reverts back to old habits because of something Chris Briney said. But I think he's going to, once again, give up on it, be a coward. Sorry, Team Conrad fans. And I love Conrad with all my heart, but Jeremiah called him a coward, and I think that he is going to cower out of the situation. And you're right. It's the right thing for him.
It's the right thing.
It's the right thing. But
I think that's strength.
But he is going to, okay.
If Belly is the only goal, then whatever. But for him as a human, as an 18-year-old with a whole life ahead of him, it is a strong thing for him to do, to leave this toxic shit behind and go to a school he's dreamed about for his whole life.
But okay, so he's going to revert back to old ways when it comes to being open and honest about how he feels. And the martyr mentality of like, okay, I'm just going to give you, again, in a different way, Belly, I'm just going to give you what you want. If you really want Jeremiah, you know, if you're really cold and you need a sweatshirt, like, if you want Jeremiah, by all means, go be with Jeremiah. Don't worry about me. I'll figure it out, or I'll just be miserable for my entire life.
Well,
like, I think
Jeremiah holds her to it.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, like, okay, so they're done frolicking. They get back to the drive back to Brown, and Belly puts on the full court press. And like, why won't you kiss me? And Jeremiah, big ups my man,
says,
I'm not doing this because there's going to be a point where you want Conrad again, or I can't deal with it if you want Conrad again. And like, man, everyone who's like, people, you can feel that. You can feel if you've been cheated on, whatever, you can feel where Jeremiah's coming from. That is such a,
it's like, I can't do that again. It was too hard.
It was too hard. Like, and it's hard to trust you again. But she basically says no, right? Like, I'm not. Yeah, not going to happen again.
It's not going to happen again.
And then she's basically,
like, we're different people now. I've grown up. Belly. Oh, Belly.
And basically kisses him. He agrees to it, but. And they went a little bit ham in the parking lot, a little bit reckless, right?
So it's reckless.
It's a very 16-year-old thing to do, probably.
It's reckless. It's inconsiderate.
At an Ivy.
It's just,
on his car.
It's a little much.
Yeah, I would like in the car would be a little better, right?
It's a little much. It's one of those things. In the car is what was in the book. People who've read the book, whether you're Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah, were like, we already knew this. Like, I already knew, you already knew that we were going to get this scene, right? Fair. We already knew it was going to happen. Like, you weren't going to tell me that Belly wasn't going to kiss Jeremiah and possibly get caught at Brown. But
I got something.
Very similar to how Chris and Lola were like, oh yeah, no, Jenny strategically was in the writer's room like, no, how can we make this worse? And I mean, little devil horned Jenny like was probably sitting there like, okay, so here's how we're gonna do it.
Like a nice kiss would have done fine.
Yeah, here's how we're gonna do it. It's not in the car. It's outside the car.
With his sweatshirt on.
with Conrad's sweatshirt on his college campus, on his car. That's how we're gonna do it.
And
guys.
not just a kiss. This is like
and not just a kiss.
a makeout.
It was a very intense kiss, which it's the kiss is described as very intense.
They also set it up too with last episode, like the hot kiss with Jeremiah.
Yeah,
I feel like they had to live up to that as well.
Yeah, they had to outdo the first kiss.
But
I think Jeremiah understands that the next 30 seconds are going to go one of two ways. Right? Like he probably, yes, feels bad, but the next 30 seconds are going to go one of two ways, right? Mm-hmm. It's like a, oh, fuck moment. Mm-hmm. And if Conrad says nothing, which is what happens in the book, then Jeremiah is going to be the one left with guilt.
Yeah.
If Conrad yells at Belly, Jeremiah is like about to throw hands, right? He's
stick up for her, at least.
Stick up for her. But then the other part of Jeremiah is if Belly runs after Conrad like she does every time and certainly does in the book, then Jeremiah is like, this bitch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for Jeremiah, there's like three, and
you better not follow him.
Right. And this is not my way of being like, oh, yay, Jeremiah. It's just like, for Jeremiah, there's three different outcomes here, and they're all kind of shitty for him.
I don't see how they ride in the car together.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see how Conrad gets in the car with them.
Yeah. So that's my empathy for Jeremiah in that.
You think moment. Conrad stuffs it down? He's like, oh, well, this is the thing. Okay. Proceed. Put that down, and I will work that through when I'm in California. I'll work through it at therapy in Stanford.
I don't know.
I will say that Belly is the set that fire.
She did.
Belly set the fire in a very similar way to how Steven set the fire between
Milo,
Taylor, and Milo. Like forced the issue and then
had to clean up the mess afterwards. But she might,
and it's basically caught.
But she might still get
set the fire and is caught by
Yeah. But then, just like Steven, is she going to be able to still make a definitive choice, right? Because with that stuff with Steven, Taylor's like, okay, so now do you regret everything you told me? And Steven says, no, we're going to be together. So now it's going to be on Belly, right? Jeremiah's going to be like, okay, that just happened. That was weird. Do you still mean everything that you just said to me? And I think Belly has to be like, yeah.
And by the way, if we slept together.
I don't know when the we slept together is going to come up, but some people don't think it's a big deal. I think it's going to be a major plot point of season 3. I think it's going to be the thing that is unspoken that causes some strife in a relationship.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
What an episode.
So.
Oh, I like Belly better in darker lighting. I don't know when that comes up, but
okay, I don't. Could it be when they're?
Oh, I think when she's talking to
the moon.
Yeah, when Conrad and her are talking.
Yeah.
On the beach chairs.
Yeah.
I thought that she looks really pretty there.
She also looks really pretty by the fireside, right in episode 2. Yeah, she's good. She's good in darker.
She looks good in the brown sweatshirt. I ain't gonna front.
She looked great in the brown sweatshirt.
How much better is the brown sweatshirt than the Finch sweatshirt?
Okay.
Like, should have been a shirt that said Finch across.
Okay.
Like, it should have been the same thing.
All right.
But like a blue sweatshirt that said Finch.
Okay. So we're going to play a little game because it matters.
Okay.
Because it matters for the episode recap.
Ooh, I got another one too.
All right. Listen to me.
I'm ready, baby.
Okay. Now that the house plot is behind us.
Thank God.
Okay, now we clearly know.
That was my love triangle.
Yeah, so we clearly know, right? Like, it's now about the triangle.
Volleyball, but yeah.
About the triangle. All right. Give me all your points for Team Jeremiah. Go.
Damn. Open and honest.
Yes.
Closer in age.
Yep. Right time, right place, for sure.
Similar goals, social stuff, they're in the same level.
Mm-hmm.
They like to party. They're all about that life right now.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Same college,
Potentially.
same location, regionality here. They're in the same place. A base friendship, very strong friendship from a long time ago. Lots of attraction between the two of them.
Yes.
The hot kisses, all this stuff. They
How
like each other a lot.
Read what she said about she said it to Jeremiah before she kissed him. I had always dreamed about being with Conrad, but dreams aren't real. I want real. I want you.
Okay.
How do you interpret that? Is Jeremiah realer to her than Conrad?
It's just like, don't meet your heroes. Well, that
and she wants to just live life, right? And figure shit out a lot as she goes. Conversely, because a lot of Team Conrad are in their feelings. Team Conrad girls, I'm just gonna say it because I know it's in the back of your mind, right? You just got some really team jelly content. It's good. I think that it works, right? Like, I'll be the first to admit, like, I think that it works that Belly and Jeremiah have time together in a relationship so that Belly doesn't have guilt, so that Belly, if it sounds fucked up, but it's like she needs to know, right? Like, somehow, some way, if she's going to end up with one of the two of them, she needs to definitively know and date both of them. It sounds crazy, right? But
you need to take them both for a test ride.
Shut up. I mean, that's how I feel. I don't know. It's how I feel.
Like, all right, that one was a little bit.
Yeah, and I buy into the fact that she wants to be with Jeremiah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I do not doubt at all that he wants to be with her.
Do I get to make the Conrad points yet, or
no? I was gonna make the Conrad points.
Okay.
But okay. My point to all the Team Conrad girls is, please don't let what we just saw give you any sense of sadness or wondering whether or not they can still be endgame. Because the door has been left open in so many small and significant ways. And there's a lot of things that Jenny knows what she's doing. And call me naive, but like, there are breadcrumbs everywhere.
At this point in time, I think there are a lot.
No. I'm not talking about at this point in time. I'm saying, what are all the threads that point to that it's not over?
Oh, okay. Threads that point to it's not over. I think that deeper connection.
Yeah.
Mostly. And book 3. Like the fact that there's a text already out there.
Jeez. Okay. All right. So, well, I guess the problem is, like, people are worried that Jenny would change the ending, and that Jenny already said, don't assume you know anything, because I can change the ending. And then there are a lot of people who are just like, show is different than book, which I agree. So, like, let me take this explicitly from show. I'm not going to use any book. All show.
How daring of you.
Okay? It's not... The show is so calculated. It is not a secret, or just because they thought it would be funny to have Jeremiah fumble the cheeseburger and Conrad catch it. It is not.
Yeah, he seems like he could be a more resourceful partner in like adult life.
Okay, but it's not an accident that when Belly is in the car singing the Free Fallin', that when the line of the song is she loves blah 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 and her boyfriend too, it like literally
it does make a special cut.
It makes a special cut to only Conrad's face where he smiles when he says
the irony of it all.
It's ironic. It's definitely ironic, but it's a clear cut to Conrad, right?
It's a breadcrumb. You're right.
It's a breadcrumb. Okay. The brown thing, guys.
In a sweatshirt.
No, not the in his sweatshirt. Okay. It's that she you can tell that she's cold. Jeremiah is fine. He can tell that she's cold too. And he's like, hey, are you cold? And he starts to say, do you want me to turn down the...
I like it chilly.
And she starts playing it off. She's like, I like it chilly. I just need. She literally says, I just need.
A
Conrad
sweatshirt or something.
She doesn't say a
I know, but
sweatshirt
that's
or
it.
something. Conrad, who's like knee deep in studying but still listening, is just like, and she just goes, "Oh, thank you."
Okay.
Like that is so much deeper and more meaningful than this guy kisses really well. Right? Like there's lust and then there's love
Okay,
and then there's that deeper
I can get
connection,
with that.
right?
But yeah, I can get with that.
Right? Okay. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
You know how we talk about Jeremiah rising, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this episode was a good jelly rising. Not necessarily Jeremiah, but a good jelly rising.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? But if you want to talk about a good somebody rising, they did they've done Conrad dirty at times, but they did him really right in this. Apologizing to everyone, saying sorry to everyone. He again still misses his moment, doesn't say everything he needs to say, but he's working through, and he works through it with Steve, and he is working through. I don't think that there's any doubt that Conrad really, really loves Belly, and I think that if Conrad really loves Belly and he wants to be the right person for her, he's gonna figure it out. Like, it is not by accident that you get this like Conrad rising 2 episodes before the finale that goes into.
I think they're Conrad rising to make it appear like he's not going to go into a big depression when this other relationship happens. Conrad rising, and that he is a strong enough person and he's okay with himself enough to go and have a next chapter in.
We'll see. Yeah.
Stanford. But there's going to be a time 6 months down the road when, he calls Belly because, they have a connection. And then maybe, I don't know when season 3 is going to be, but next summer.
Yeah. Well, okay. So then,
because to give Jer and Belly a full year is fair.
Sure.
And then she's right. I don't know. She's going to college. So they have to be at college together, I feel like.
Yeah, so they might get another
2 years.
2 years, yeah. I mean, 2 years would match the book. But, all right, other thing, and I might be reaching. You guys can tell me if I'm reaching or not, but,
we could put this into preview if we need.
The song that plays during the Finch, very cute, frolicking.
Rage.
Okay, is, the lyrics are Dream About You. When Conrad and Belly scene happens, they're already broken up, but she's flashing back. It's Invisible String. The whole point of Invisible String is
let's save this for the preview episode. Save this take.
There's always a thread, like back to our man Conrad. We know that.
Even Jeremiah knows that. But she's giving him her word.
That's true.
That I'm not going back there again.
Yeah. Well, she says, like, I want you, I want real. And I think that Jeremiah does not give Conrad enough credit for, he's like, oh, you fucked everything up with Belly. Like, he was going through some quote unquote real shit. And yes, he fumbled it and he mishandled it and he admitted to that. But like, okay, Jeremiah, your turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to protect Belly's character, I don't think that they'll let her go back to Conrad now. It's going to have to be a situation where Jared does something that fucks it up to get her back to Conrad, to protect Belly's character of this flip-flop shit.
Oh, you mean if she ends up with Conrad at the end?
Yes, if she ends up with Conrad at the end, it can't be like, because she would be breaking a promise, and that's rough for Belly's character. I
mean,
so it'd have to be something where Jared violates the trust, not Belly violating the trust.
What? No, yeah. There's also the idea that nobody has to violate trust, and Jeremiah needs to be cool with it. Like there needs, like maybe there's a mutual like, hey, like this isn't working, and not necessarily because she wants to move on to Conrad, but there might just be like
sure. It could be like because she goes to Spain at some point.
No, that's not until after the whole fallout.
But yeah, I'm saying there could be just a breakup. And then time passes, and then it gets Conrad. All right. Musical moment.
There's so many. Can I name a couple of them, though?
Kid Cudi.
So
Kid
you like Kid Cudi.
Cudi. It's not one of my favorite Kid Cudi songs,
Okay,
but that's my
the
boy.
Strokes last night where they're dancing in the kitchen.
Yep.
I always like to name the songs that I didn't know before that I feel like are just good songs that I'm happy I now know. So Summer's End by Phoebe Bridgers was a great song.
Phoebe Bridgers.
Love that song.
Kills it.
Mended, which is the Belly and Conrad at the trash cans. Then there's
I think they use an
obviously
Outcast song as well.
Then there's obviously Tom Petty, Free Fallin'.
Yep. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any other honorable mentions?
They used a lot of really good songs here.
Yeah.
Just out of loyalty to my boy, I'm going Kid Cudi.
Okay. That's a musical moment though. Like that's the best scene that you like.
Well, musical moment to me is which song are you most happy that they played?
Oh, okay. I would go with.
There was a lot. There was some good.
There's a lot.
Some good shit in this
I
episode.
I would go with the Strokes. I would go with that one just because again I'm a big sucker for dancing in the kitchen and Belly pulling Conrad up, getting him to dance, and then all of them dancing. It's just like it. We haven't seen that all season. Like we had to wait until like towards the end of the 7th episode to see something like that this season. So that's going to be near and dear.
Who won the episode? This is a big one. I mean, right off the rip,
Jer.
I was saying Jer. Like, gotta be fair to Jer. In my chair. Yeah, I mean Jer. Like, it's good for everyone to see that him and Belly thing. Like, I feel like they brought us on a ride, like I said, and
yeah,
and like, okay, this thing makes a little bit of sense.
I think Team Jelly wins the episode for damn fucking sure, but I don't know if Jer.
You could say Laurel.
I would say Laurel. Yeah, I'd
Okay.
say Laurel. I'd say Laurel or Jer.
Yeah, I like
because
that.
they each had like weird-ish moments in the episode, but they had a full arc,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because like we could say Laurel for the entirety of it, but like she was kind of shitty in the beginning and slapped Belly and had to come around, but she made full circle and like similarly,
she dropped the big hammer.
Yeah, like similarly with Jeremiah, like I didn't love that he had literally no words
For Conrad
yeah. When Conrad was actually trying, but then it comes back around and then it still kind of ends fucking weird, but I think that was Belly and he got swept up. Like I think it's ironic and fucking hurtful, but I don't think he was trying to be hurtful. Like I think he was caught in the moment. He really likes Belly and he has been pushing off her advancements the entire time she's kissing him. I think he just gets caught up and gets caught with his pants down. So
big old 8.1 for episode 7 Love Affair.
8.1.
8.1.
Nice.
Which is nice. And I must say, Love Fest, last week's party episode, is now the highest rated episode of all time.
It was
on
really
yeah, that's an 8.3.
good.
So Love Fest is now the number 1 rated episode.
I would still say Love Fest to me is more rewatchable.
Yeah.
More rewatchable.
Like some of those scenes drag out a little bit for rewatch.
Oh, these ones?
In the latest episode.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But if you had to pick like let's go watch the best jelly scene, like I think the one in the volleyball, like Finch is really good.
Yeah.
If you had to go watch the best Conrad and Belly, I loved. I mean, well, I do like the Party City Isle, you know me. But I like the garbage can one.
So this episode is now tied with episode 3
mm-hmm.
as an 8.1.
There you go.
So
there's no Mac Miller song though, so Casey can't really give it a.
I said in their thing, I was like, it's close. It was a really strong episode. Yeah, because there's so many different good things that happen, like rewatchable scenes. There are some points where you're like, pick up my phone, do a little bullshit. Well, Aunt Julia and Laurel talking, or when whatever. But the pacing was overall pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to do our preview episode.
Oh my god, this is such a big one. This
is our last preview episode.
Oh my gosh. And it's before the finale.
Play.
So before we do the preview, Casey doesn't know this, but
What?
we're gonna watch all 7 episodes leading up to the finale. Gotta make sure we didn't miss anything.
At some point, yeah. Not today.
Maybe not today, but before we record our preview.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all for checking us out. As always, at Better With Glasses Pod on Instagram, betterwithglassespod@gmail.com for any questions, comments, concerns. If you guys like the episode, like the show, all that good stuff, please give us a rating on Spotify or Apple. That helps. And we appreciate it. We love doing the show. We love you guys. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you, as always, for listening. And we'll see you next time.